Hey Kai, what do Nike, Starbucks, and Yuga all have in common?
I don't know what.
They are all opening to the public, offering on-chain stuff for everyone in 2024. And in today's roll-up, we're going to discuss Nike's big 2024 plans, how you can get into the Starbucks on-chain program, and Yuga's first play-to-earn mobile game that is available for everyone. GM, welcome to Web3 Academy, your one trusted source to capitalize on the next big phase of the internet. We are here to make sense of an on-chain world in constant transformation. I'm Jay Bird, along with my co-host, Kyle Reedhead, and we believe that GloDollar is going to change the world.
This is one of the big topics we'll be talking about today, which is we've moved our treasury into GloDollar. And if you don't know what that is, actually, we had them on the podcast a few months ago, so you can check that out. But we'll talk all about what that is and how we're helping to end poverty. We're going to talk about the Solana Saga 2 phone that's coming out, version 2. I don't know if the phone's actually different, but they're launching more. We'll dive into what they're doing. Of course, they have a point system with it, just like every other application in this space. We're going to talk about all the things going on in airdrops. And then we've got a bunch of the agrees, disagrees, because there's some really, really good takes that have been going on in the Twitter world, the X world, I guess. So we got a lot to talk about today. Oh, and Franklin Templeton, one of the biggest asset managers in the world, top 20. They spent an hour just dejetting out on crypto on Twitter yesterday. But we're going to cover that as well. Some good stuff going on. But first, let's take a deep breath. Jay, before we get too excited, I know you're so bullish. What are you grateful for today?
Deep breath. That's nice. Yeah, I am very grateful for winter. It is full on winter where I am right now. Minus 30 last week. I'm not grateful for that. That's way too cold. But we got a lot of snow right now, which I just love it. Love all the snow. It's great for the mountain. I get to go snowboarding, although I did hurt my back, so I haven't been snowboarding at all recently. But I just love this time of year when there's snow everywhere. My dog loves it. It's beautiful outside. It's magical. It's a good time of the season. So grateful for winter. Kai, what about you?
Beautiful. Well, I mean, I'm grateful for Buenos Aires in Argentina. I've been here now for 2 weeks. I actually spent the weekend in Uruguay because you can take a ferry. It takes 1 hour and all of a sudden you're in another country. But I like Buenos Aires much more. And so I'm grateful for Buenos Aires. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. The people here are amazing, super nice. And it is so damn cheap. I go out. We went for a steak dinner, got a tomahawk steak yesterday or 2 days ago. And tomahawk steak with all the fixins with it, like everything. Like we couldn't even eat close to this, me and my girlfriend. And it was like $23 for the whole thing. And it was a bottle of wine. Bottle of wine, $6. I was like, what? That's half the price of a glass of wine in Canada. It's unbelievable. Everything is so cheap here and it's great. I love it. But it's just a beautiful, the amount of cafes, like today we had to make our own coffee because we've literally gone out every single morning and got multiple coffees each day from different, you can choose a different cafe every single day. It's unbelievable. So anyway, grateful for Buenos Aires. Got another couple weeks left here.
Fantastic. Love to hear it. Okay, before we jump in, just a quick favor to ask everybody. If you love our podcast and you want to help us bring more people on chain during the bull run, please give us a subscribe, a like, a follow on whatever platform you're on. Even if you want to go the extra mile, throw us a review. It's a huge help for us on the algorithm and gets us in front of more people. And as always, if you're not already subscribed to our newsletter, make sure you subscribe so you're on top of everything that is happening on chain every single day.
Actually, the more people that come on chain, the more your bags go up. And so the more that you give us reviews, likes, subscribes, all that stuff, and the more that we can get a bigger megaphone and get in front of more people and help them come on chain, the better your bags will do. You're welcome. And thank you at the same time.
It's true. Can't deny it. Okay. As we always do, we start off with a market watch. But Kai, I know you did an awesome market watch earlier this week. Give us just a quick overview. What's going on in the markets?
Yeah. So if you want a more detailed review of the markets on Wednesday, you can check out our YouTube or podcast. I came out with an episode just looking at where markets are at right now, what I expect over the coming year, talking specifically about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, as well as Celestia, TIA. So did a deep dive on all those things. Basically, the reason we're going to just shorten the market watch today is I don't think there's much going to happen over the next little bit. I think we are at a point in the market where things are just going to remain stagnant. We might see some ongoing pumps in ETH if it starts to catch a bit around more rumors around the ETF, if that starts to hype up. But I think we might still be a little bit away from that. We'll see. And then obviously EIP 4844, but that's still next month. So just now, it'll take a bit for demand to come from the Bitcoin ETF, which I also talked about in the last episode. And I talked about why financial advisors need to go golfing. They need to bring their clients to restaurants so they can wine and dine them. And this takes time, right? To start educating your clients about the ETF and why they should invest in Bitcoin. So all that demand's coming, like we've been talking about. In reality, it just takes time because in the real world, what these people are doing is they got to go wine and dine their clients. And that takes a little bit of time. So anyway, for more of my theories around everything that's happening, go check out that episode. It's a good one there. But let's dive into it. We got so much to talk about. So let's just keep it there unless you have any other questions, Jay. And otherwise, let's get into more things happening.
No, I love it. Let's keep rolling along. Before we jump into the first news item, though, I just want to ask everybody a question. And that is, did you get the Manta airdrop? We've been talking about the Manta airdrop for a while. We're going to give you a full update on what's going on with the Manta airdrop later in the show during our airdrop like it's hot section. But I want to know if you're listening on Spotify, if you got the Manta airdrop. Kai loves my new name for the airdrop segment.
Did you come up with that or was that ChatGPT?
No, that was T-Gal. T-Gal, our ops guy,
good.
came up with that new airdrop like
Great.
it's hot. But did you get the Manta airdrop? I want to know. If you're listening on Spotify, there's a poll and let us know. Okay.
You damn well better. I've been calling this thing out for months. Okay. Even T-Gal actually goes, oh, I missed it. I didn't put enough in. I tried to do it yesterday. I was like, dude, I already told you guys it was way too late. And he works for us. So that's crazy. But hopefully all you guys got it.
Okay.
Glo Dollar. What's up, Jay?
First up is very exciting news. This is news for us at Web3 Academy. And that is that, as Kai said at the top of the show, we have taken $20,000 from our treasury and put it into GloDollar. What is GloDollar? GloDollar is a USD stablecoin that takes the interest that they earn from the stablecoin and puts it to good causes. Specifically, they put it towards helping pull people out of extreme poverty. And by putting $20,000 in GloDollar, they estimate that they will be able to take $480 every year and put that towards the good cause. As a result of that $480, they estimate they can pull one person out of extreme poverty every year. Amazing. So many people around the world are worried about what are the real use cases for crypto. I hate that. So many people are always at, but what's the real use case? It's just meme coins. It's just shit coins. No. Here you go. Here's a perfect example of a real use case that makes a difference in the world, that makes the world a better place. And on top of this, when we first committed to this, which we asked Twitter if we should do this after an interview with GloDollar, and Twitter said, yeah, you guys should do this. So we said, okay, we're going to do it. And then Rain Cards committed to matching us as well. So $40,000 have been committed. 2 people pulled out of poverty every year. If you have some stable coins sitting around, recommend throw some into GloDollar and feel good about how you can help make a difference in the world.
I'd love to see these new creative ways. I mean, we've talked about yield generating stablecoins previously with like Mountain USD, but instead just donate your yield and help make the world a better place. Couldn't think of a better idea. So really pumped and excited to be a part of this and also join the consortium. Is that the word?
The Glo Consortium.
Consortium, yeah. So we're going to be a part of that alongside Gitcoin and many others. I just sort of helping GloDollar expand and become something bigger and bigger within the ecosystem.
Next up, Nike made a big announcement on their 2024 plans. Kai, what's going on here?
Yeah, so many of you hopefully have heard of .swoosh, which was Nike's sort of venture into Web3. And they did a great job of this last year. You could buy an identity and your .swoosh ID. And then also you could a certain amount, and it was closed to mainly people in the US, but there was some others they started to open up. But basically you could mint certain shoes, certain digital shoes. And then they've played around with allowing you to actually get physical shoes from this. They're doing some merch and some other cool stuff. And they've had some connections and partnerships with, was it Fortnite? Not Fortnite.
Fortnite.
Was it Fortnite? Yeah, Fortnite, EA Sports, et cetera, et cetera. So we've all been wondering, like, what's next? What are they really going to do here? Right now, we just have these cool looking NFTs. You can get some shoes, whatever. What's next? And they put out their roadmap last week, and it's actually some pretty cool stuff. So this is what's actually going to happen this year. So that's really cool. The first thing is their focus on Nike in-game wearables. They want to extend this out to actual games. So one of the things we think is going to happen here is with their partnership with EA Sports, it's likely kind of what they're hinting at anyway, is that you're going to be able to purchase virtual products, likely just shoes, but I'm sure they'll have some other wearables as well, which will be in the form of an NFT. and you'll be able to actually wear them in your game. So imagine you're playing FIFA. I think FIFA has another name now. FC 24 is what it's called. Madden, you're playing, I don't know, NHL, and imagine they did skates, but whatever it is. And all of a sudden you can purchase in-game like clothes or in-game shoes and actually wear them. And those are being powered by NFTs on top of Polygon. That is super, super cool. It is a way that, they're doing it in a way where you don't, need to know about MetaMask and you don't need to have ETH, et cetera. You can do it all like with credit card, et cetera. It's a great introduction, and they'll start to be able to show some cool things that you can do with it. So excited to see them go further with that. I mean, EA Sports is massive. There's, I don't know, millions of people playing these games.
700 people.
700 million across all their games?
Across all their games, across all EA Sports games.
That's amazing. So this is it, right? Like, these are the things that we want. Now, I'm sure they're not going to brand them as NFTs, and that's fine, which we want. That's what we want. Imagine 700 million people using NFTs. They don't even know it. That's exactly what I want to see. So anyway, super cool there. But they're doing much more than that. They're going to double down on, I hate this word, but they're going to double down on phygital items. So basically the ability to sort of blend your virtual and your physical offerings, whether that's, you're buying something in the digital world and then you can go and actually create it and have it in the physical world so you can get the sweater, get the shoes, whatever. And so they'll do a lot of community building around that, around creating these products and actually getting them in the real world as well, which I think is super cool. The other thing that I really liked is two things here around self-custody and around the NFT marketplace. So right now, you don't get to custody any of the NFTs you have through .swoosh. It's all on their closed server, however they're doing it. But what they said is that in 2024, likely in the second half, they're going to open this up so that you can actually move your NFTs out of the .swoosh wallet and into your own MetaMask wallet, Coinbase wallet, whatever that is. And then you can buy and sell and trade, do whatever you want with them there. So they won't open up their own wallet to be like a Web3 wallet yet. But if you want to use it, you can still use their thing. But if you ever want to just take them out and custody themselves, you have the ability to do that, which I think that's the choice is what matters, right? So really cool there. And then they aren't going to launch their own marketplace like some people were speculating on. But what they are going to do is partner with an existing marketplace. Now, we don't know which one, but what they said is they're going to partner with marketplaces or a marketplace, which ensures creator royalties. So their focus is around ensuring that the creators of these will get the royalties. Now, that's not Nike themselves getting the royalties, but those who are part of creating these shoes and these designs through their creator studio, they will get the royalties, which I think is really, really cool. They're trying to position that. And so potentially they partner with Rarible, who we've had on the podcast a few times, or Yuga Labs is launching a NFT marketplace, which ensures creator royalties as well. So maybe it will be with them because we know that that's launching at some point this year. So we don't know. Could be either of those. Maybe there's something we're missing. But those are the two main ones that have focused on creator royalties. So either way, we're really cool to see and excited to see one of the biggest brands and most known brands in the world go further into Web3. Because as we're going to talk about later in the show, there's big brands, big companies that are actually falling out of Web3 and pulling out. So Nike continues to push along, and we'd love to see that. And so does Starbucks, which I think is what we're about to talk about next. Jay, is that correct?
That's correct. So Starbucks also has had their program going for probably about as long as Nike's .swoosh's program is going for. But similar to Nike .swoosh, it's a closed ecosystem right now. It's in beta. You have to get an invite code. And this week, they have started to open up to the public. Now, you can't go to their site and immediately get in. You still have to go to their site and join the wait list. But if you go to their site and join the wait list, I don't exactly know how this works depending upon where you live. I wouldn't be as surprised if this is restricted based upon certain geographies. I joined the wait list, and pretty soon after, within a week, I got an invite code in. So I think it's headed in this direction of being open. I also heard from our friend T-Pan, I've got an article up on screen that he wrote recently, that he is just a Starbucks Rewards member. He's also a member of the Odyssey program, but they're not connected in their system right now. And for being a Rewards member, he got a push notification to his phone encouraging him to go join the Odyssey program. So they're clearly opening up. Now, T-Pan's in the US, so my guess is they're focused on the US market. But then we also found out that Starbucks this week announced that they're going live in Korea with the Odyssey program. So they're also clearly picking certain geographies, certain test markets. Remember, Starbucks, one of the largest brands in the world, has stores in, I don't even know how many countries, but they're all over the world.
Every country.
They're clearly going market by market as they open up. This also, for Starbucks, lines up with the launch of their first journey of the year. One of the most powerful things about on-chain loyalty is the way that you can gamify multiple actions and string them together in what Starbucks calls them journeys. But we've talked about this when we talked about Lufthansa's UpTrip loyalty program, which also does a similar thing where you have to take a few different types of flights together in order to complete a journey, essentially. So Starbucks' first journey has launched, and you can get in. If you join the Starbucks program, you'll be able to do this journey. And basically, smart for Starbucks, this journey takes a year to complete. And so they keep you engaged for a full year. Essentially, as part of this journey, you have to go into Starbucks once a season, winter, spring, summer, fall, holiday, and buy a drink to celebrate that season. That really connects with Starbucks brand. They're all about celebrating the season. If you're in a Starbucks store around Valentine's Day, it looks like Valentine's Day in the store. If you're there around Christmas, it looks like Christmas. If you're there in fall, it looks like pumpkin spice latte season. So you can see how they're really connecting their loyalty program on chain and their brand and the experience that people are used to experiencing. And they're just heightening that with a better on-chain experience. So really cool to see. If you haven't joined the Starbucks loyalty program, I recommend you go to their site now, and you can actually just try to join. It's possible that you're able to join immediately. I think that a lot of Americans, in my guess, are able to join immediately. If you can't join immediately, then it tells you and you have to join the wait list, and I think you'll get a code pretty soon after.
Yeah, it makes sense. They can't open it up fully. They probably want to, if they put a push notification out to their 100 and was it like 100 something million or 30 million users? Is it
30
they have
million people? Yeah, 30 million is their reward.
That'd probably break the internet if they did that, or at least break the blockchain / break all their servers and whatever they wanted. So you got to break all slowly. Yeah. But good to see. This is great. Nike and Starbucks all pushing forward in 2024. This is exactly what we want.
Okay, next up, Solana Saga. What's going on with the Solana Saga, Kai?
A wild story. So as we all know, we've touched on a bunch that the Solana Saga phone, the mobile phone, sold out over the last few weeks because a bunch of people were trying to farm airdrops, and the phone was a great way to do it. And it actually made your phone free. So a bunch of people bought the 20,000 that were available. Then a week or two went by where you couldn't buy anymore, and we weren't sure what was next. And all of a sudden, they hinted on the 16th of January or the 15th of January that something was coming. So we said, okay, probably more phones. Well, that's the case. Solana Saga 2 is happening, and they are launching 100,000 more phones. Interesting about this is, so it's 100K, but they also have a point system that goes with it. So the phone itself, by the way, is $450, so super cheap compared to most other phones. And what's interesting is you can sign up. When you order it, you can also then get a referral link, and if you share it around, you get additional points. And then there's other things you can do to get more points. Same with like when you're getting points from, I don't know, putting capital inside of like a DeFi protocol, you can get points right now, like Camino points that we've talked about in MarginFi. So same idea, but with an actual hardware like device, like a phone. So that was quite funny. And then just, I think a couple things. There's been some confusion around this. People are like, oh, it's just a cash grab. Like they don't really need to do this. So why are they doing that? Like why sell 100,000 more? And I think there's just a couple things I want to clear up. One, they're not making any money off this. It costs $450 to make the phone. So they're like probably just break even, if that, because then you got to pay for the marketing and the team and so many other things. So like this is not a cash grab. They're not making much money here. Now, if they continue to do this, they do 100,000 here and they do 100,000, next month and so on and so forth, their manufacturing costs will go down and down as you scale. It gets cheaper. So like then eventually they might be able to make more money. But right now they're not making anything. So why are they doing this? Well, I've listened to Anatoly, the founder of Solana, talk about this a few times. And look, he knows that they are probably not going to take on Google and Apple, right? These guys sell hundreds of millions of phones a year. They're not going to do that. They sold 20,000. If they do this, they're 120,000. Whoopee. And they know they can't take them on. However, what they can do is, one, get a little bit of pressure going. I mean, if this works, they get another 100,000. They have a very committed community, people who really want this. They're already having pretty good sales from this. So like, if they can get some traction here, it's maybe the one shot that we have of someone competing with these massive, massive mega companies on phones. So like, it's worth it, right? They are the thing that's holding back most of what we're trying to do with Web3, with Apple's 30% charges, the rules that they have around like swapping and NFTs and games and all the things. If we can put some pressure on them, That's massive for our industry. So first of all, let's do that. Second, we need this industry to move mobile. And it's hard right now. And so this at least allows innovation to push forward on a small subset, albeit, but at least we can start to like work around innovating in the mobile world, and we can do it in a native crypto blockchain way, which is really cool. So I think that is really great. And then also the way they framed it was like, look, if you have a NFT project of 10,000 people, you can build something from that. And if you have, think of Pudgy Penguins and, you know, some of the others around there that have actually built real things with these communities. That's what they said is like, hey, the first Saga that went out, 20,000, we've got a community of 20,000 people. We can build a business around that. And who knows what that is? Maybe it's not even about the phone. It's something else. But at least they can innovate. They can practice. They can maybe get some competition with the big ones, like all from this. But if anything, it's a way to tie the community together and see what they can do in terms of progress with hardware, with, I mean, wallets inside of phones. Like they can start to actually do things. And I think that's really exciting. So look, I'm not buying the phone just because, I don't know, I don't really need two phones. But if this sells out at 100K, then I'm turning them on. I think it's a great idea. Why not keep pushing forward? If the community is down to support it, then go for it. I think it's a good idea. It's not a cash grab, though. So many people on Twitter were doing that, and it's just a bit ridiculous.
No, I think this is an innovation grab. You shout out to them for taking opportunity of the fact, like from a marketing standpoint, very well done, right? You have a narrative. You just sold out. You celebrated. You got a lot of hype around that. Now is the moment to do another launch. And thankfully, you can do a pre-sale launch. So you didn't have to have 100,000 phones ready to go, which they obviously do not, right?
Right.
So do a pre-sale launch and then throw in some points. Great job, right? Like, well done. I think that you nailed it, though. The big thing here is we should all be celebrating hardware innovation because we desperately need mobile hardware innovation on chain. I'm thinking about buying it, Kai. I'm not going to lie.
Same. I would. It's difficult when traveling. But here's what I would say is like, there's a lot of chains right now that have maybe 100,000 people on it, not even, and they're thriving and they've got a network and they're building out new apps and they're, you know what I mean? This ecosystem of 100,000, that's not small. That's bigger than a lot of cities in the world, right? And you can create thriving cities from something small like that. In a digital world where it's even cheaper to create, you could build something real from 100,000 or 120,000 people. And think of the network effects you have now when that 120,000 not just is using your system, meaning they're holding on to Sol and then also using some of the apps and they know the branding, but now they also have the phone, the hardware device. Like that becomes very strong network effects, which then can compound into something more. And I think they see that. I think it's extremely smart what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, awesome. Let's keep rolling along. Franklin Templeton. Who the heck is Franklin Templeton and what did they do this week, Kai?
Yeah, so Franklin Templeton is the 20th largest asset manager in the world. So they have 1.4 trillion, that's with a T, trillion doll hairs in assets under management. Yes, I said doll hairs. It's massive, okay? And what's hilarious is, so when the ETFs came out, they've been playing around in the crypto space for a while. They've been building on chain. They've been doing some cool stuff. I think they've put bonds on chain, et cetera. But when the ETFs came out, they changed their profile picture to have the laser eyes, which is a little bit outdated, but whatever. So anyway, they did that. Then yesterday, out of nowhere, they tweet out, they said, "Hi, everyone. For the next hour plus, our account is being taken over by some members of our digital assets research team." Now, this was unheard of. Remember, this is a TradFi company, like massive, really, really old, been around for hundreds of years. This is like not Coinbase doing this or something. This is the old boomer world that all of a sudden comes on Twitter with laser eyes and starts tweeting out and says, the first one they put, "You are unsure how to feel about laser eye Ben," because they have Ben on their, as their profile picture, laser eyes. "Just think instead of Ben with hat." So they literally started, the first thing they did was talk about the meme coin, which is a little bit wild. Then they started talking about ordinals and layer 2 solutions on Bitcoin shouldn't be ignored. These are vital to solving Bitcoin's economic security problem and increasing Bitcoin's utility as a store of value. In crypto, speculation is a feature, not a bug. That's another tweet. Then they had the tweet of, "We're excited about ETH and its ecosystem. Despite the midlife crisis it's recently experienced, we see a bright future with many strong tailwinds to push Ethereum ecosystem forward. EIP 4844, alt, data availability, community revitalization, restaking." And then I'll do one more, which was, "On Solana, we see Anatoly's vision of a single atomic state machine as a powerful use case of decentralized blockchains, lowering information asymmetry. And we are impressed by all the activity seen on Solana in Q4 2023. Deepen, DeFi, meme coins, NFT innovation, fire dancer. You have one of the biggest finance companies in the world that are one of the older ones too, that are literally talking about meme coins and restaking and ordinals, like the most degen things you get in this space. That is, and this is on their main Twitter account. Now, they launched a crypto or a digital asset specific one, which is why they did this. But overall, really, really cool to see that. I just think that's quite interesting. And then the final tweet I'll share, which was pretty funny, is they just tweeted, "The lawyers won't let us respond to your comments, but we hear you." It's like the digital asset people are like in jail and they can't really, like, they're just giving them a chance to speak to their community one shot. Really funny. They're even posting memes, etc. So there's a lot of people who follow them in the TradFi world that are like, what is this? What are they talking about? What's happening? And so we're going to talk more about this. We actually have a newsletter that went out today on the Friday, all about TradFi, starting to learn about, understand, and actually like crypto, which we'll talk about with JD Diamond later on in the episode. But it's just really interesting to see this migration, or this like crypto and TradFi kind of coming together. And I think the crypto values and the crypto memes and the crypto, like all this stuff, is going to take over. And these TradFi people are going to have to adapt to what crypto does, not the other way around. I think that's really interesting.
You want to know something crazy that I heard? I was listening to another podcast with Josh Rosenthal, who's just a absolute crazy thinker. And he was talking about other major economic renaissances that have happened in the past, and the ones that have led to like the largest tech innovation at the same time. And he was talking about the printing press and how that was such a big moment that changed the world. And I didn't know this. When the printing press first came out, do you want to know what was one of the most common things that people were printing? Was basically memes of the day. It was like, it was imagery of like devils and people like on crosses, because religion was so big back then. That was like the most common thing in culture was religion. So apparently, and he couldn't explain this, and apparently nobody knows why this happens, but every time a major innovation happens, the humans lean into mimetic culture and using memes as a way to spread that new tech. So no surprise maybe that NFTs and meme coins have been such a big part of our early innovation here.
Makes sense. I mean, the internet, that was meme culture kind of came out right when the internet started, right? People think it's weird, but it's like, this is just what people do. We're all creative beings. Makes sense.
Yeah. And a big reason why is because we all really care about community and we care about identity. And meme coins or any form of meme is the best way for you to build community with other people, because you share that belief. And then also it connects very strongly to your identity in a way that people really care about. Anyways.
So why you're wearing a hat, Jay? Jay Whiff hat?
That's why I'm wearing, I'm Jay Whiff hat today. Let's go to the next story. Blast Testnet is live. Kai, what's going on here?
Yeah, you know what? I continue to be impressed with what these guys are doing, the Blur team. I used to be not against Blur, but I was like, I just don't really, at least I didn't like the token structure they were doing and the airdrop stuff. But now they just have been killing it and killing it and killing it. And so, as we know, they launched Blast. It was a yield, basically whatever you put on there, whether it's stablecoin or ETH, you get yield generation immediately from it. It's like native yield, which is a cool innovation. First ones to do this. Now you have Manta and others doing it, but they were first. Now, they were first, but they also didn't really have an L2. They were just kind of a multi-sig, but somehow they managed to get $1.3 billion in TVL plus 100,000 users together combined that bridged over, that are basically farming the airdrop Blast as well as the Blur token. And so now what they've done is, okay, they've got all this money, they got all these users, they're going to launch L2 at some point, but we think it's in the coming months, but they need developers, they need, apps, they need to make this thing a real ecosystem. So how are they going to do it? Well, they're launching something called the Blast Big Bang Competition. And this is basically what they're doing is almost like a hackathon, but they're doing it digitally. So there's not actually like a physical place to do this. They have something like 20 judges, and you can go apply right now if you're a developer and you have a cool idea for an app. You can go apply to this. And what they'll do is those that register, that get approved, they get a chance to pitch 20 or so investors that are the judges here. So they might be able to get investment from this. Plus, they're eligible to earn the Blast airdrop, and a select amount will win and go live when they launch their Blast L2 and they actually go to mainnet. And so obviously developers now are incentivized to go and build here rather than something like Base or Optimism, etc. Now, of course, you can go to these other platforms and they do grants, right? Retroactive funding with Optimism. Arbitrum has this. Polygon pays a lot of people to build on there. So like everyone's doing it, But Blast is doing it in a more fun, gamified way where like, hey, you come compete in this thing. You might get investment from our judges, and then also you'll earn this airdrop. So now it's a speculative amount that you get in this grant, which is pretty cool. So they just continue to bring these like fun, competitive, gamified ways of getting attention and bringing in the things they need, right? They brought in 100,000 users, $1.3 billion in capital. That's a big reason that developers want to go build there. You know, you're going to go live on mainnet, instantly have $100,000 people and that much liquidity. Like you're going to be one of the top apps on L2s immediately, actually in the whole space. Like as soon as this thing goes live, if you're one of the first apps to launch on this. So like there's so much incentive, plus you're getting paid to do it. Like it would be crazy if you had a cool idea to not go and do this on Blast. Obviously there's some risks there. We don't know, like it's new, blah, blah, blah. But like, hey, if you're experimenting and you want to try something new, it's an incredible idea. So again, kudos to the Blast team. This sounds fun. I'm excited for them to go live and see what they do. We thought Base had a splash when they went live. I think Blast is going to do something bigger. I mean, they already have, right? Their TVLs just blows Base out of the water, and they're not even live yet. So they're doing a lot of things right, and it's just been interesting to watch.
And I think the thing that we all have to remember is that long-term, we're not going to know which chain we're operating on. We will know, people listening to this right now, because we care about that, because we're nerds and we're geeks and we're early in the space. But once we get to onboard the next billion users on chain, they're not going to come on and know which chain they are buying their token on or playing their game on or putting their identity on, whatever action they're taking. So what does that mean for a blockchain to succeed is early on, you have to build a very strong community of developers who want to build on your chain specifically because they're going to build an app that people are going to use. That's what's going to attract people to your chain in the long term. And what's unique about Blast, remember, is they have said that they are going to build a chain that has native yield within it. So if you're a developer and you want to go build something and you can do that with native yield, that's a feature that allows you to build and develop something new that maybe isn't available on Base or on another chain. So I think we're going to see when they launched a mainnet, which, as you said, Kai, I think comes. They initially said it would be Q1 2024. I think more likely Q2 2024, but we'll see. I think we're going to see some apps that we haven't seen before that are unique, that aren't possible on other chains, rather than just the typical, oh, we're launching and we have Uniswap and we have all these apps that are available on other chains that aren't anything new. So,
and to be fair, they'll have those too, right? Because it's open source. Uniswap can just launch on whatever chain they want, whenever they want. That's how this whole thing works. But they'll have hopefully new things that, you know, we've probably never seen before. And that's really cool. By the way, the competition ends February 16th. So if you haven't already signed up, go do that now. If you're a developer listening, and make something cool. See what you got.
Okay, next up, Yuga Labs has announced Dookey Dash Unclogged. You guys might remember last year, Yuga, at the same time, this is actually part of Yuga's playbook. Kai, I don't know if you noticed this. The past 3 years in a row, in January, they have launched a game every year to start the year. I guess a great way to engage your community, create some hype in the new year. Everyone's maybe a little turkey drunk after the holidays and they're just sitting on their butts and they want to play some casual games. I'm not sure. But here's what's unique about Dookey Dash Unclogged is this is Yuga's first game that is open to the public. So anybody can play this game. There's going to be rewards. There's going to be prizes to be won. This is just an announcement of the game. They haven't actually launched the game yet. It is coming soon. But what really stood out to me from this announcement was the way that they are building a creator studio. So this game is like a typical casual game. You'll play it on your mobile phone. I think you're flying through a sewer and like literally like dodging shit and dodging plumbers and what you would find in the sewer. That's the Dookey Dash. You're dashing around Dookey. But what you can do is they're building this creator studio. They partner with Faraway, and anybody can come in and you could build a skin for this game. You could build a vehicle that you could fly through the sewer for the game. You could build stickers. And so this is very similar to Fortnite, to a lot of other games that allow co-creation. But here's the thing. In current gaming, in Web 2, if you go and you create these skins or create anything in the game, you don't have ownership of it. It's not an NFT. Can't really do much with it. You can't sell it, can't profit from it. Obviously, huge promise of Web3. You can do that. And so as part of Dookey Dash Unclogged, if you go in and you create a skin, then you could also set up a store where you could sell that skin. And if you sell that skin, because of the way they've built this, you would get 50% of the sale coming back to the creator. So they're rewarding the creators. And this is a theme that we are going to see a lot. I think we talked a little bit about this in Nike earlier around their focus around co-creation as well. And I think we're going to see a lot more brands leaning into this meta of co-creation and using on-chain tech to ensure that revenue and capital is flowing back to the creator. Perhaps it's also flowing to the seller. Perhaps it's also flowing to the referrer. In this case of Dookey Dash, there's also a refer code that you can use. And if you refer somebody through your link, you get 5% of any sale on that. And these things, they're not really possible in Web 2. They are, but in much more janky, difficult ways to manage. So really exciting to see that part of the game take hold.
I guess this is where Yuga Labs' marketplace will come in to play, right? Mm-hmm. I assume they're going to need to use that to get the royalties that you'd be getting if you sold these NFTs.
It's a good question. I'm not sure whether those will be. They obviously will be connected, but I think you'll probably also just be able to sell within the game and collect within the game because you've connected a wallet.
Right. But you're still going to need some sort of marketplace. How are you going to know what you're buying and selling, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, and that marketplace is in partnership with Magic Eden, and they obviously have talked a ton about importance of royalties. So look, I always keep an eye on Yuga Labs. The other thing is, Yuga Labs has a whole focus on this casual gaming sector, which is why they hired Daniel Alegre as their new CEO. So
the thing I don't get is we talked about his thread from at the end of the year last year, and he said gaming is not a focus of Yuga Labs. We'll play around with it a little bit, but it's not a focus. And yet everything Yuga Labs does is about gaming. So I'm confused with what Yuga Labs is doing. I don't really get it. I know you're super bullish on it, Jay. I'm not so bullish on Yuga Labs. I don't know. Maybe because I'm so bearish, it's the time to be buying because, you got to go against what the narrative is. Although I don't know what most of crypto Twitter thinks, but I ain't buying.
I don't know if I would buy any high value NFT other than maybe a Pudgy because I just don't know yet what the revenue stream is. I don't know the business. I don't believe in the long-term business model for these. Okay, great story here. I want to tell you guys about somebody who made a $9 million fat finger buy this week. It's story time. So somebody fat fingered a $9 million buy of Dog with Hat. You guys all know Dog with Hat. We've already talked about it a few times. We're really shilling meme coins today. Dog with Hat is the meme coin that is literally a dog with a hat. He's a very cute dog and he's got a cute hat on. I mean, why wouldn't you want to join this community and ape into this meme coin? Well, somebody bought $9 million and look at the chart of what happened when they purchased $9 million. Everything's going along nice and smooth. And then you see a crazy green candle. And why was there this green candle? Well, Dog with Hat is a legitimate sized meme coin at this point. They've got 450 million market cap. So it's a big meme coin, but a $9 million buy is too much demand and there's not enough supply at that point. So when you have too much demand versus a short amount of supply, the price of the token temporarily skyrockets and quickly reverts back down. And that's exactly what happened here. Also, ironically, it fell around the same time of National Hat Day, which was also this week, which obviously Dog with Hat community was celebrating National Hat Day. So everybody was like, who was this? Who made this stupid $9 million buy of Dog with Hat? And so step in ReDAO. ReDAO is a DAO on Solana, which I'm sure you've never heard of because they have only about 8,000 followers on Twitter. They don't even have a website. They just have a Medium page with their white paper. And they stepped in and they said, we're here to buy all your Dog with Hat. And they took claim for this purchase. And so everybody started dunking on them. They said, why are you bragging about this purchase? This is a horrible purchase. You paid way too much because you ended up skyrocketing the price in order to buy this many dog whiff hat. Even Jupiter got in on the mix and just said DCA, dollar cost average, ... What are you doing? So everyone's dunking on Redow. And then it comes out, Redow says, okay, here's the real story. He said, registering Redow.sol and sending to a whale wallet cost them $20 USD. Fat fingering and feeding the MEVR bots cost whoever actually did this $8.8 million USD. And then they said trolling all of crypto Twitter is priceless. So what they did was buy a new .sol, which is just an identity. They bought Redow.sol, and then they sent it to the wallet that actually bought that fat fingered in and bought all this dog whiff hat, and then quickly posted a screenshot of it. Incredible guerrilla marketing tactic. It then later came out that PMF God was the one, and he posted on Twitter, he just said, I fat fingered. Fuck. And so we took a look. This wallet is now the second biggest holder of WIF. And so he bought about 9 million, which was about 17 million WIF at the time, for an average price of 52 cents. Right now, the current price of WIF is 43 cents, which means they have lost $1.6 million on this purchase so far.
Well, when did he buy this? Because it was way lower when he bought this. So he actually lost a lot more, but it just happened. It's been on a run the last couple of days. Do you know what day it was?
Exactly. He's actually almost up to break even now. Maybe it was a good buy.
I think when he did it, it was 0.07. So it went to next to nothing. Like he lost more than 50% of his capital within like a minute, which is pretty crazy. Does it say what day that was on?
He was at 0.10 when he first, Jan 10th.
Jan 10th, right. Okay, so yeah, there. And then now it's skyrocketed since. So he's actually made multiple. So like he's getting close to being break even, although he probably lost a bunch in like impermanent loss too. But either way, it was really bad. And if he didn't sell it, I don't know. I think he held on to it all. He's doing not bad now. So very interesting. Wild story though.
Wild story. Waiting
to get some airdrop stuff, and then we got to get into our agrees, disagrees. We got lots to cover still.
Okay. Airdrop like it's hot. First up, Kai, Nifty Island airdrop. How can people qualify for this?
Yeah, so this is, it's actually a project that I've been following for a while. Last cycle, I actually joined their Discord and I was kind of seeing what they're doing because they were basically making this game or this metaverse world where any NFT project could come in, or anyone could come in, create their own island and make games or do whatever they want with it. You want to make a store, whatever. And it just seemed like this really cool blank canvas way for projects to come in and like build a cool little metaverse. And it was just an idea back then. I kind of left it, forgot all about it, but I continued to follow them on Twitter. And then like 2 years later, all of a sudden now they are actually launching, and they're launching not only the metaverse world where you can go create games, play around on it, but they're doing an airdrop along with it. Of course, you're crazy not to launch with an airdrop now, I guess, because that's what gets the attention. But what they're doing is pretty cool. Starting yesterday, you can connect your wallet. You can download the game itself. So you have download it to your computer, and then you actually can go play around it. Other people have started to build little worlds on their island, or you can create your own. You can share it. You can bring in other people to join your community, or you can go just play around in it. And if you play around, you can earn the island token airdrop. You can win NFTs. You can do a bunch of different things. So I won't go into it. We did a newsletter on it. So if you're a subscriber of ours, you'll see it from Wednesday. But basically, you can just go to, what is the actual website? I want to make sure I get you the real one here. niftyisland.com. So pretty straightforward. But it's already available. You just click on airdrop, and then you can connect your wallet and join in and play around. What's cool is you're supposed to be able to bring in your NFTs. So like Pudgy Penguins can go bring their actual NFT that they have and use it and like run around with your Pudgy in 3D version and like go run around these islands. And so if you have other 3D versions of NFTs, so there's a lot of different ones that you can do this with, CyberKongs, I think Meebits, and a bunch of others, supposedly you can go and use those. Now, I don't know if they all are ready to do this yet, but that is what is coming. A bunch of them are ready. So go play around now, test it out. I don't know how fun the game is. I haven't been able to try it yet. I tried yesterday, but one of the things is you'll see with these airdrops is anytime you do an airdrop right now, you just get basically flooded with too many people that are trying to game it. There are literally, what do you call these, like farming organizations where it's thousands of computers all in this one factory together on like really good internet, all trying to do this and game this stuff. And so like every airdrop now just gets completely gamed. It's actually very ridiculous and kind of annoying, but is what it is. So when you tried to go in yesterday, of course, these massive farms were attacking this thing. And so like you couldn't even, the website was down, everything was broken, you couldn't even get in it. Basically every airdrop is doing that right now because of this, but now it seems to be running, people have said, but it's probably pretty glitchy because again, so many people are trying to farm it. But go check it out. Hopefully it's working now and you can play around.
Awesome. Okay, next up, Manta airdrop. What's the update
So
here?
Manta Network is the newest L2 on the block, and they have basically taken after Blast, which is they have native yield generating stablecoins and an ETH when you bridge over to Manta, which is, again, I think is a great idea. They're also using Celestia as their data availability layer. And so that should make the platform much cheaper. Now, I haven't noticed that when I've been using it. It's actually been more expensive than any other layer 2 I've used, so I don't really get it. They keep promoting it on their Twitter, but it's actually not cheap at all, so I don't really understand. We're trying to get Kenny, the founder, on the podcast to walk us through what's going on. But anyway, we've been talking a lot about it for the last 2 months. You can farm this airdrop. All you had to do was bridge some ETH over, and then you could claim some NFTs and have some fun with it. They closed that off 2 days ago. They launched Manta token this morning, actually, and you can now claim it. They got this hack by who knows who or why. And basically when they launched that, so when you went to go and claim your token, no one could do it because the blockchain was getting attacked and their servers down, and it was a bit of a mess. The blockchain kept running, but it was basically you weren't able to like claim your tokens or do much with it. They have been fighting that for the last couple of hours. They've sort of gotten through it, but you couldn't really like connect your wallet in because it was just not working. Whoever the one person is or team is that's attacking this, they spent over $1 million this morning basically clogging the network. I don't know why they do this. I don't know if it's like a competitor that like just wants their big launch to go bad, or if there's a way they can like do something with maybe MEV in the background. Like, I don't know how you profit from this, but that's what's been going on. Anyway, if you were eligible for the Manta airdrop, you can now get it. It seems to be working. The token is currently sitting at $2.10. It went at about $2.60 when it first launched. Where it goes from here, honestly, I'm really bad at deciding where tokens go right after an airdrop. It's really tough. But what I was looking at is you have the market cap of Mantle, which it has a smaller TVL than Manta currently does. Manta has almost $1 billion in TVL. Mantle is like 250 million. And it is sitting at a market cap around 4 billion. Whereas Metis, another layer 2, who has about the same amount of TVL as Manta, but is not as like legit of a company, let's call it. They've been around for a long time, but they're just kind of whatever. They're at about $1 billion or so. So I think Manta will be somewhere in between Metis and Mantle. I don't know why they're all M's, but is what it is. So we're currently sitting at a market cap of 550 million or a FDV, fully diluted valuation of about 2 billion. I could see this going up at some point, but the problem is that we know so many people are trying to game this. And so a lot of people just take the tokens, they sell them right off the bat. But I do think there's a lot of demand for L2s right now going into EIP 4844. So potentially some people are buying this up as speculation. So I don't know. I'm going to claim them. I don't think I'm going to sell right away. I'm going to wait and see if this thing goes up. I don't think it'll go much lower than this. So I think the risk reward is pretty good here. So if you've got yours, I'm claiming, I'm holding for a little bit, but we'll see where things go.
And we want to know if you got in on this airdrop because we've been talking about it for a while and we want to know which ones of you got it. So if you're listening on Spotify, check out the poll and let us know if you got it. Kai, how many tokens did you get in this airdrop?
Yeah, I got about 740. So currently we're looking at a little over $1,500 US for like less than 60 days of basically do nothing. I had to bridge one time and then do nothing for 60 days and $1,500 US. That's amazing.
And if
why
you
not do that, right?
If you didn't get this and you're listening to us, this is exactly why you need to listen to our podcast and subscribe to our newsletter. Because we've been talking about this for free. This isn't in our like premium pro side of our newsletter either.
Right.
All of this stuff that we talked about on Manta and how to do this was on the free side of our content. So I hope you guys took advantage. If you didn't, don't worry. More will be coming in the future. There's no shortage of airdrops. Let's move on to the next one. AltLayer is launching alt token. What's going on here, Kai?
Yeah, so this one was just announced yesterday, and AltLayer is So I've talked a lot about Eigenlayer, which is the restaking protocol on Ethereum, how it's an ecosystem to secure other layer ones, other products, other services, whatever. And AltLayer is actually part of the Eigenlayer ecosystem. So they're building on top of Eigenlayer. And what they've created is a restaking rollup as a service. So we've talked about rollups as a service, which is like Optimism, Arbitrum. They have done that. And now we have one that is a restaking one where basically you can create a rollup and it automatically uses restaking as its security. And AltLayer is making that super easy to do. So kind of cool. We'll see where that goes. There's nothing like it out there really. So this is kind of a first of its kind. But anyway, they are launching a token. And what's interesting, I didn't even think about this, is the people that are getting this airdrop are those who restake. So those who are using Eigenlayer, which we have been telling everyone to do for over a month now. So if you have been doing that, you are going to get a token called AltLayer. It's coming on January 25th. And then also, if you stake your TIA, your Celestia, you are also eligible for this. Now, there is going to be some restrictions on who is actually able to get this. I don't think it's every restaking and every person staking the TIA. There might be limits. We don't know. They said they're going to come out in the next couple of days and let us know. But many of you should be getting this airdrop, which is really cool. Congrats to anyone who's been doing this. There is a snapshot. So if you go restake now, you won't get this. But likely, if you are restaking or you do go do it now, there will be other airdrops, I'm sure. So it's an airdrop party right now, and it's a lot of fun.
And you're invited. Okay, last airdrop update. Jupe. What's going on with Jupiter? We've been talking about this one for a while.
Yeah, this one's real quick. It's the launch date's finally here. It's January 31st, the last day of January at 10 a.m. EST. You will all be getting your Jupe if you qualify for it. So congrats to those who got that one. It should be a big one, but let's see.
All right. Time for my favorite segment of the show. Agree, disagree, explain. First up, we've got Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, speaking on a panel at Davos 2024, the World Economic Forum. Let's just take a listen to what he says.
Blockchain is real. It's a technology. We use it. It's going to move money. It's going to move data. It's efficient. We've been talking about that for 12 years too, and it's very small. Okay, so I think we've wasted too many words in that. Cryptocurrencies, there are two types. There's a cryptocurrency which might actually do something. Think of a cryptocurrency as an embedded smart contract in it, and then we can use it, buy and sell real estate and move data. That may have value.
The idea of tokenizing things.
Tokenizing things that you do something with. And then there's one which does nothing. I call it the pet rock, the Bitcoin or something like that. And so on the Bitcoin, there's, first of all, and I'm not trying to make a joke here. There are use cases, AML, fraud, anti-money laundering, tax avoidance, sex trafficking. Those are real use cases, and you see it being used for hundreds, maybe $50, $100 billion a year for that. That is the end use case. Everything else is people train among themselves.
Okay, Kai, do you agree or disagree with Jamie Dimon? There's two takes here, clearly. There's his take on smart contract programmable blockchains, and then his take on Bitcoin, which he calls a pet rock.
So it's funny. A lot of Twitters be like, "Oh, Jamie Dimon doesn't know what he's talking about. He has no idea what crypto is." Listening to this, I'm like, you know what? He's actually got a fairly decent understanding to understand the idea of smart contracts and what's possible with them. It seems like he kind of gets a little bit how he says blockchain's a technology and here's some things you do with it and it's here to stay. Like, that was interesting to hear. I didn't know that was his thoughts. And then to take the, you could think of it as the ETH maxi side, which is like, look, blockchains are legit. A lot of people in the space have been saying, look, blockchains are legit. Smart contracts are here to stay. It's about the tech, not necessarily about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is we've all said the meme, Bitcoin is a pet rock and it doesn't do anything. Whereas Ethereum, Solana, et cetera, they do things. That is my big take. It's why I don't hold a lot of Bitcoin, but I do hold a lot of Ethereum and Solana. So funny enough, I actually agree with him. Look, I think him talking about how it's all money laundering and whatever on Bitcoin, I don't necessarily agree with that. There is some of that, but it's not the main use case for it. But hey, I also call Bitcoin a pet rock all the time. Look, I do think Bitcoin's important, so I'm sort of going a little bit too far to one side. But he's kind of an ETH maxi, and I kind of like it.
Okay, I'm going to agree with Jamie Dimon on the programmable blockchains being the future. And I'm not surprised to hear him say that because, as he said, they've been using programmable blockchain for over a decade over at JP Morgan Chase. They have a blockchain that they built in order to move money for their institutional clients, and it moves billions of dollars every year right now. So they're already on that. It's no surprise that he's excited about that. I think he went way overboard, and I'm pretty disappointed, to be honest, that a CEO of a major company who has a large voice says things like Bitcoin is only for sex trafficking. Like, come on, man. It's a store of value. It is an incredible opportunity for the middle class and the lower class to not be crushed by inflation, which banks like him are a big part of keeping the TradFi system alive. So I'm not surprised that he's saying this, but I also completely disagree with it.
I take the same thing. I just think, I mean, you know what? I'm not going to get into my debate on Bitcoin and Ethereum. We don't need
Yes, you say, let's not go there. We'll do that in another episode. Okay, next up, we got a tweet from Edgy, the DeFi Edge. He says, "What we had John McAfee and Michael Saylor leading the way before. This cycle's main character is Larry Fink."
I disagree. I mean, right now, he is definitely our main character, and everything he says is what we want him to be saying, and it's getting, you know, pulled around Twitter, and it's great. But I don't think he'll be the main character this entire cycle. I just think a lot of TradFi is coming. Now, Larry Fink is obviously the CEO. He's the founder of, or CEO of BlackRock and the biggest asset manager in the world. So it is a big deal. I don't think he's on the level of Michael Saylor, though. Michael Saylor is like so far into it that not only is he buying everything he can of Bitcoin, he is making memes and just like coming up with these ideas and theses around what Bitcoin is and what it means. Larry Fink, I don't think is doing that. I think he's being told what to say from his like PR people. It almost sounds like Jamie Dimon understands crypto more than Larry Fink does, to be honest. But I mean, I hope he continues to try to be a main character because it's definitely pushing a lot of things forward for us. So I love that. I just think it's great to see these big names like be talking about this and be talking in a way of like, hey, these are good things and there's technology here and this is here to stay. Like that's massive. We didn't have that last cycle.
And obviously Larry Fink has incentive because they have a Bitcoin ETF and he knows there's big capital opportunity here for him and for BlackRock. But I'm cool with Larry Fink being the main character because he's got a lot of trust amongst people who are not in crypto and on chain, and he seems to really support what we're building here. So if he's the main character, I got no problems with it.
Both Larry Fink and Jamie Dimon, the thing that they both talked about was tokenization of everything. Mm-hmm. So they're seeing the future that we're seeing, which I think is sick. That's exactly what we want. So I'm good with that. They want to make money off it, go for it. Of course they should. We all are trying to do that, right?
Okay, next up, Emperor Osmo. He's got a tweet. He says, it's a tweet with a photo, with an image, a screenshot of Spirit Airlines Inc. It's their stock price, and it shows that they're down 60% on the year. So that's the image. What he says is, this is not your favorite shitcoin. It's the stock of a major airline company. Tell me again how crypto is so dangerous to retail investors.
Yeah, I disagree with this. I think people take things out of context. When you have Gary Gensler and other people like regulators saying that crypto is dangerous, it has nothing to do with the volatility of it. Of course, stocks go up and down and there's stocks that have gone bankrupt. Like that's not the issue. The issue is that when you don't need to actually go through regulators, you don't need to go through a system with any due diligence whatsoever to get your shares of your company out to anyone around the world, whether they are children or they are adults, that is dangerous. And we've seen it. How many companies get like rug all of their holders? How many companies in crypto have bugs in their contracts? How many companies in crypto launch something and then don't even ever build it, and they end up just being completely fraud? Like it happens all the time, and a lot more than something that you can buy on a regulated exchange like the NASDAQ. And so this isn't about, it's not dangerous because of the volatility of crypto. That's a feature of it. The dangerous parts of crypto is that you don't know what the heck you're investing in. And even people who like kind of get crypto still get rugged. And that's a bit ridiculous. Now, I'm all for open and free markets. It's just, let's not take things out of context. Obviously, there was a lot of bad that comes with crypto, especially in its early days. And we need to figure that out because people get rugged all the time and that sucks. So he's just putting words in people's mouth.
Well said. I just agree with your take on that, Kai. Okay, next up, this is from Tang Yan. He says, my Blur thesis is simple. If you believe that number one, market cap for NFTs will expand hugely in the future, and number two, there will be another speculative bull run for NFTs in the next 1 to 2 years, then Blur is essentially the only way for most people to bet on and capture the upside from this specific future happening. Buying individual NFTs requires picking winners and avoiding losers. There are very few other fungible tokens that capture the broader NFT market.
I sort of agree with this. Blur is definitely a token that can do really well from the NFT bull run that I also believe those two things are going to happen. I think the market caps of NFTs go up like crazy, trading increases. And so Blur is kind of like an index of it, sort of. The thing I don't get about Blur yet is if there's a token for OpenSea, I would say then this thing is very true. The thing with Blur is that it's a token for a marketplace that's used by a small amount of professional traders. And I don't know how many professional traders there are out there. Maybe there are a lot more than I think. And so there are a lot of people that want to use Blur. I don't know that world. I don't understand that world. So that's why I don't invest in Blur. But I do see a token of a marketplace that a lot of people use being a massive, massive thing. The problem with Blur is it's professional traders only and they have no revenues. And so I don't know. To me, it's just not my world. I don't get it. So that's why I don't buy it. But I do think Blur probably does really well.
But it probably does really well thrown in there. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with this one. I don't invest in Blur because I also, like you, Kai, have less conviction for the future of speculative trading with NFTs than I do for the future of other Ethereum, Bitcoin, other tokens that I feel like are much more stable and have a much bigger network. But I can get behind what he's saying. And so I think it's a good take. And I think if you wanted to take some risk, then some Blur token wouldn't be crazy if you have that conviction around the future of the NFT landscape.
Agreed.
Okay, next up, this is a tweet from OK Hotshot. He says, remember Frentech? Remember Portal Coin? Remember Ben Coin? Remember Psyop Coin? Remember Loyal Coin? Remember Stars Arena? Network Coin? Bitcoin Baddies? I mean, what happened?
I mean, the space, it moves quickly and it's all about narratives, right? Like Frentech was the big thing. What was that, like 2 months ago? And now like no one talks about it. Ben Coin was a wild thing for a little bit. Like these, I mean, I put out a tweet just yesterday. I said, do you guys remember when ETH and L2s were dead like a week and a half ago? It was literally a week and a half ago, just before the ETF got approved, that everyone was saying ETH is dead, L2s don't make any sense. And, you know, Bitcoin and Solana are the two big things. And it was all over crypto Twitter. And I was like, this is nuts. And then all of a sudden, look, 1 week later, ETH has just pumped compared to Bitcoin. The ETH BTC ratios got up and now L2s are cool again. And it's like, what? So it's a very narrative driven industry because it's a lot of retail people. So just something to keep in mind. So yeah, I don't know if this is an agree, disagree, whatever. There isn't really anything to agree with here, but like one thing to understand about the space is things move really, really fast. And if everyone is all saying one thing, it's probably the right move to go against that and to take the other trade. When everyone hated Solana, that was your time to buy Solana. When everyone hated ETH and L2s, like a week and a half ago, if you were buying ETH, you've outperformed Sol, you've outperformed Bitcoin by a long shot over the last like week and a half. Just kind of go against whatever everyone is saying in that moment. When people get really, really passionate about one thing, it's like, okay, now it's about to flip. The narrative is about to change. And we'll go on to the next one. We'll keep doing that. That's just how this industry works.
Agree. Very well said. Okay. Next up, this is from K Money. He says, all caps, bro, who the fuck would want to buy a music NFT? Just upload that shit to Spotify, dog. LMFAO.
I mean, I agree. Like if you're only putting on sound or like music NFTs and you're not putting on Spotify and on TikTok and on Apple Music and SoundCloud, then like that is ridiculously stupid. There's no distribution in the music NFT world right now. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't do music NFTs. I think 100% you should because I think there's a lot to learn from it and it's a really cool concept, but we're nowhere near mass adoption. So it makes zero sense. I think if you're an artist, 5% or less of your time should be put into music NFTs if you have time for that. It also takes a lot of time to create music and to go try and get gigs and sell your music and do all the things that come around with that. So like, obviously you should be focused on those kind of things, but this is a cool way that like, if you can get early and understand it well, you might have a great opportunity to blow up on that. You're not going to make a lot of money on it right now, but if you can figure out a way to make it work, super cool. I think this does become bigger in the future. And so it's a good opportunity. And then also like if you can gain some experience in it, there's a lot of musicians that don't make it as musicians and they end up becoming producers or, you know, managers, etc. And it's like, hey, if you understand music really well because you're an artist and you really get music NFTs, there's going to be a lot of musicians that are going to be hiring people to help them with music NFTs as this becomes a bigger deal. So to have some experience it is also smart. So you can diversify your skill set too. I think that's smart. But if you're a musician trying to get big, you better be on the big platforms and not going all in on this because no one's there yet. We need to live in the reality, which people struggle to do.
Well said. Completely agree. Okay, last one. This is a nice, inspiring one. This is from DeFi Moki. They say, the one who underestimates you the most is yourself.
I agree completely with this. People have a lot of doubts in their heads. It's hard for people to be very confident in themselves. And it's funny because usually everyone else is actually quite confident in you, whether they know you or not. People just, I think naturally are just more confident in other people than they are themselves, which means like you're the one that's usually underestimating yourself more than anything. The fake it till you make it thing is super, super real. As an entrepreneur myself, it's something I've always done. I've just kind of like I thankfully have had just a lot of confidence in myself to execute. And so I just say I can do things even if I have no idea how to do them. And people believe me completely that I can do these things because, well, everyone just is very confident in other people. And so I think it's a good thing to understand and wrap your head around that, like, hey, your negative thoughts, they're way more negative than anyone else has about you, that's for sure. And so don't let that spiral into something more, which a lot of people do.
Yeah, this is such an important reminder. Look, no matter what is going on in your life, no matter where you're at, whether you're up or whether you're down, you are capable beyond what you know. You are capable of so much just by being alive, by showing up. You can truly achieve things that you have no idea. And as Kai said, fake it till you make it. Believe in yourself and things will happen for you and come your way. The thing that I always think of when I hear a message like this is what it was like to be a kid. And when I was young, I remember looking at my parents and being like, oh, they're godlike. They got it all figured out. They know everything. And then you grow up and you realize your parents they're fucking clueless. No, like, I love my parents, but they're just winging it every day. And so is everybody else. So just remember that everybody's winging it. Nobody has a clue what they're doing. But just keep showing up and believe in yourself because good things will come your way.
Love that. So true.
That's a wrap. That's it. What a great roll up. It's been a big work. I feel like we've lived a year and it's only 2 weeks into 2024. We're just getting started. I am fired up. Stick around, everybody. Make sure that you're listening to the podcast. We're going to be back again next week. Subscribe to the newsletter if you're not already subscribed. Join the Discord if you want to chat about anything that we discussed today and you want to dive deeper into it. We love you guys. Have a great weekend, y'all.
Thank you for listening to Web3 Academy, your one trusted source to capitalize on the next big phase of the internet. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it and subscribe or follow so that you don't miss the next one. While you're at it, there's a link in the description for our free newsletter where we provide timely and relevant Web3 insights so you can confidently build and invest in Web3. Make sure to subscribe today. One final note. This podcast is for educational purposes only, and nothing we say is financial advice. Crypto and Web3 are risky, and you should never invest more than you're willing to lose. Thank you, friends, and see you in the next one.